Got here, and it's time to talk about Gachiakuta. Now, this episode kind of felt like the finale, at least for me, of this season. From what I've seen, we're gonna get season 2. The talk is around here, which I'm happy about, but I'm also curious where this is going to head. Like with the last episode, what are we gonna see? Maybe like a training arc. We're gonna talk a bit more about that towards the end of the video, but this episode is definitely the aftermath of everything that happened so far and building up for future things, and also some funny shenanigans. I was laughing quite a bit this episode, so let's get into it and talk about it. Now, I liked how Tamzi, Dalmon and the others were thinking maybe if they would have been there sooner. Yes, hindsight is always 2020. I'm really curious because the Raiders definitely have the advantage when it comes with fights 1 versus 1 or humans versus humans. Like, the cleaners are definitely better against beasts, even they say this, but some point I feel like the conflict is gonna be more about human versus human fight, so I do hope they're gonna get, I don't know, something for them to be able to handle these fights better, because 1 versus 1 they were definitely getting overwhelmed, and even when Bundus held them back quite well there. So if the Raiders versus Cleaner war amplifies conflict, however you want to call it, it's not looking all that good for them unless the Raiders suddenly start just fighting with beasts against them, even more after what Zodil said in this episode. But that's gonna be probably for the future, and we're gonna have to see how this conflict powers everything gets expanded into that. I feel like just this season 1 has been kind of just scratching the surface a bit for the series there, and them trying to figure out things, what it means, having the entire Watchmen series and even making an entry into it, thinking about Zodil's plans there. Also get a bit of a time skip, like 2 weeks, and before we had that, I really liked Rudo. Kind of okay, after everything, I just need to take this safety that he found in like the group, the people he's with, also his choice to stick with them when he was presented with what Zodil said to work together there. But of course, sweets. He also wants sweets. Those are the priority. He definitely has a sweet tooth here. And I really like, this is where we had a lot of fun since in this episode, that scammer trying to get money out of them for the car. They were just like fully felt like a GTA full thug car after them, just opening the windows and music blasting their glasses and them head bobbing. And I feel like that guy, I kind of regret my choices in this moment, and I like how Engine's driving is very different to Gris's one there, and we didn't understand why the glasses. Engine didn't elaborate, but I think that makes it even funnier. But yeah, after this we have 2 weeks later, a bit of a time skip after everything happened, and Rudo being nervous to visit Zanka in the hospital. And I am really liking Zanka, what he did this episode, and even with his past, but I do hope he gets some growth a bit. And I'm not talking about character development, because he definitely got a lot, especially in this episode, a bit in his power and how he's fighting, but that kind of applies with what I said at the start, them fighting against humans and not just trash beasts here. What I really liked was how Rudo views the world. He's very in tune with other people. He just wanted to bring flowers to somebody sick. It's kind of like a habit also I have so pretty much everywhere in the world. When somebody is sick or when you're feeling down, you just kind of bring flowers. But since they are on the ground, flowers are very rare, they're very expensive and very hard to grow. And Delmon even said, I'm not gonna give any of my flowers, but I really like the concept of giving flowers to somebody sick, and let's go buy some fake ones. And he kind of introduced that, and Rudo internally thinking he's kind of pushing the spherite culture onto them. And this made me think a bit about the world also. Is it our Earth? What happened? How did the world end up in this place? What exactly is the sphere? How it started? And so many questions along those lines, and that's why I'm saying I feel like we just scratched the surface with Gachiakuta right now. But I like that Rudo thought about this, showing how conscious he is about others and how he views himself, and how he takes things for granted while others don't, and not in a bad way, in a really good way. I wish more people were also appreciative, thinking about others and how why it seems normal to you, maybe it's not normal to somebody else here. But yeah, Zanka, that poison did a number of him, even though it wasn't lethal. Healing it was very tricky, and I like how they just open the door there and he was just standing there brooding, kind of like angry meditation in a way. That's the vibe I got from him, and the frustration, and kind of related a lot with Zanka in this episode, and we're gonna get to that. But also really respected how much Faith and how much Engine respects Zanka, even telling Rudo he's gonna get over this. He's one of, I'm paraphrasing a bit, he already hit rock bottom and he still got up after this, so this won't break him, so to say. And I really liked that, showing how Engine views Zanka there, and how much faith he has in his future, saying one day he's gonna be better than a genius, which I do hope is gonna be true. I really like somebody working really hard and getting those over talents. That's why I like series like Black Clover. If you guys never watched Black Clover, highly recommend that series there. But here we also see something really funny. Ramlin or Gremlin is here. Mayor brought her or him, I'm still not sure, or they, however you wanna call. I'm just gonna say Gremlin. She's definitely like a Gremlin here to apologize for the wrong spell on Zanka. That one major damage gets ignored here. Gremlin thought it would be funny to just draw a weird spell on somebody as serious as Zanka. And yeah, that's definitely a weird spell, and kind of fits with Ramlin there. Made the spell like, if Zanka makes this, what was it, left arm, if right arm, whatever, makes this movement, his arm just grows like a lot, and then it deflates. So basically a prank. But yeah, doing something like this when you have to rely on that spell, like, it's funny, but also very dangerous here, and kind of shows that Rem is not quite mature enough. While those are fun pranks when somebody kind of relies on that spell to go into the field, it's not as funny. But what I appreciated here was Zanka, how well he took it, which is a good thing and also a bad thing at the same time. He just starts laughing it off, saying it's fine. He doesn't blame Remlin here, and just showing how much of a complex he has on himself. He just thinks he should have done better, he should have done more. It's his fault he got into this position. If he was stronger, like, well, those are great feelings, and I'm liking his doing this, and I also relate to it, especially when I make mistakes or when I don't do something well enough or good enough, or I screw up big time or small time. I'm always very critical on myself, and sometimes to unhealthy levels, and I'm kind of getting this from Zanka also. I feel like he's putting too much pressure on himself, he's taking too much, and he's putting himself down too much here, and he wants to do anything and everything at the same time. While that's good, the core feeling of that, wanting to be stronger, to do more, to be better version of yourself, some things sometimes are out of your control. And even if he was probably stronger than Jabber, if he would have won that fight, who knows how things would have gone there differently. Or maybe even if you're the strongest character in the series, if you get scratched by something like that, you still could have lost there and caused other problems. But I do like his drive, still getting back up, but it's a very weird balance to have those feelings, being so critical of yourself, especially in life and death situation here. And I do hope Ramlin also takes a very important lesson from this one here. But after this we had Rudo with Zanka alone, and I like how Rudo kind of gets a different perspective on Zanka, starts admiring him a bit, and of course he proceeds to make that weird face smile he has, and they start bickering because Zanka takes it the wrong way. Of course in a fun way, they weren't actually fighting or hating each other here. That was great to see that. But after this we have Zanka with Engine talking about everything, Rudo, everything that happened and so on, their plans, how everything worked out or how it didn't worked out here, and think of the border, the raiders, they're still gonna get into a conflict regardless if Rudo is involved or not here. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. Kind of like I said at the start also, this conflict is going to happen. The problem is how they're going to handle it, because so far they're at a disadvantage power-wise, tactical and strategy-wise, because Zodil definitely has things a lot more planned. We haven't seen a lot of Corvus here. He was looking over at the boots. Corvus is definitely one of the most suspicious characters in the series so far, at least for me. The information broker he has, the way he just kind of has that aura about him, knowing too much but not saying anything here, even not revealing his own power to the cleaners. A lot of things kind of don't add up with Corvus. Is he gonna turn out to be a good guy? Is he gonna turn out to be a bad guy fully? I don't know. I'm leaning in a good guy, but very suspicious good guy here. We're gonna have to see with that. But after this, we see it from the perspective of the Raiders a bit. Continuing the conversation from last episode with Zodil kind of saying his experiment was a success, even though it turned out into a failure. I like how he views things, kind of even failures can teach you something. The goal for this experiment was to see if they can cross the border alive, which they can since the cleaners return. We also get full confirmation of Erde is dead. We see her body there on the ground. So yeah, she's dead. Of course, I still have major questions. What the fuck is that giant watchman thing over the border? How happened the sphere? So on, so on. A lot of questions. That's why I'm saying we just scratched the surface with Gachiakuta. And Bundus gets the promotion he always wanted here, being in the first string, like the strongest team in the Raiders here, and he gets the order to go after the creator of the choker, because apparently it's a giver and maybe they have a piece of the Watchmen series to find them. And he gets this statue, idol or curio, how Katuni called it, something written on it, Undertaker Canis Shorebreak. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name. Reminded me a bit of Angreals from Wheel of Time. If you guys ever read Wheel of Time, something that you hold that object amplifies your power, your control over your power in a way. So I'm curious if it's exactly that or maybe it's something else here. But Zodil even showing that confidence, he can take the boots anytime he wants from the cleaners. At least they know where they are. He wants to collect all of them and then get to the sphere. That's his main goal here, and using the experiments to achieve that goal there. But yeah, I don't know how that's gonna turn out, but that's why this episode definitely felt like the ending of season 1. I'm curious what they're gonna have in the last episode 24, maybe a bit of a training arc or something, maybe to build up a bit more, or probably we're gonna have a huge cliffhanger. I don't know what the stopping point is gonna be with this one, but hey, I'm happy we're getting season 2 from everything that I saw, so we'll see. But yeah, aftermath and build up episode, which they're always great. It's nice to have the climax episode, action, everything reveals, so on, but then you also need a downtime period, which is very, very important, and a lot of series fail at this. I wish more series had this downtime to let things settle and also build up into next and bigger things here. So yeah, Zanka was great in this episode. I feel like he got the most development here, and we're gonna have to see for the final episode what it holds for us. And thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, helps me quite a lot, and you guys get the latest videos on the series that I follow. So keep enjoying Gachiakuta. I'm gonna see you again on the next one. Bye bye.